Mega Fun Obby is the self-proclaimed longest and most fun Roblox obby on the platform. There isn't some crazy twist about the game or dark truth, but I just think the history behind it is very interesting. Before we get into the video, I have two things I need to talk about. The first is that I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and we're getting really close to it, and I still think it's possible. The next thing is that this month, December 28th, I'll be hosting a $300 Robux tournament. And if you're interested in that, there will be a Discord link in the description for more details on it. October 7th, 2009, a small obby was created. The name of this obby, of course, is Mega Fun Obby. But with this humble beginnings, no one expected such greatness. At the time, the game wasn't anything honestly too notable, since of course it was just an obby. But as time went on, more people began to recognize it as it had consistent updates and of course good courses. According to Bloxton, the creator of the game, the reason for the creation was something as simple and kind as just wanting to make a game for their older sister to play. At the time, Roblox games didn't really get much traction, obbies included, up until, of course, it did, and it started getting fame. This led to him getting home from school and adding more levels for people to play, constantly updating it. The game got to the point where in 2015, it was one of the top games, being number 15 right behind Sword Fights in the Heights. A year later, the game would even become number 1 of all Roblox games, beating every other. In 2017, the game moved down due to the popularity of Meep City and Murder Mystery 2. The game also had reached 1,000 stages this year, and Bloxton decided that this would be a good place to end the series and work on Mega Fun Obby 2. If you watched videos on this channel before, then you know how much of a terrible idea it is to make a sequel of a Roblox game that becomes its own. Bloxton was surprised by how Mega Fun Obby 2 was never able to pick up traction and players, and with Mega Fun Obby 1 losing most players, morale was low. The idea to fix the problem was to return to Mega Fun Obby 1 and add more obstacles, losing the impact of ending the obby on 1,000 stages, but at least there was more content and updates. This final gambit was something that actually ended up working, and the player base eventually ended up reaching 1,000 players again. It was back. Things would be good for a couple of months until there was a slight decrease. At first, Bloxton thought it was nothing, and it would be fixed as more updates would revive it better, like how it originally worked when the game got to 1,000 stages. The difference this time was that the game was being consistently updated, and it was still losing players, probably having to do with the passion for the game being gone. The reasons for the updates now were just to get paid from people playing the game and being a grueling process instead of the original goal, which was make the fun game for his sister. Bloxton claims the reason for this game's decline happened for two reasons, which is the fact that Roblox stopped putting the game on one of the top ones when you search for Obby, and the game Mega Easy Obby, which took a lot of its players and people believed that they were the same game. Personally, I do not believe this is why, and I think it has to do more with the stale content and there not really being noticeable changes at all. While other games were improving everything about theirs, Mega Fun Obby just kept adding stages hoping it would catch on again. In an attempt to make more money, another obby was created, which was the Extreme Fun Obby, but this one was basically a cash grab. The only purpose was to get players to buy things inside, which is why there were so many microtransactions inside of it. This just shows a huge insight into the passion really being dead, and the only reason for obbies continuing to be made was just for the money. This led to a point where updates were just added to be added, and then there was no passion really left in the game only to get paid. The game would eventually reach 2,805 levels after 10 years, but the player base is sadly down to less than 100 players every day. It just seems that people are kinda over this obby, and I don't really know if it can ever return. It is sad to see how much a game can go downhill in time, especially once the creator loses passion, which I think is the best explanation for what happened. Bloxton blames the downfall on mentioned before, the Roblox platform, but honestly, I'm starting to see other games go down this route. I was actually unaware of this, but from my comments, people told me that Real High players are experiencing something similar. The creators' updates feel more commercialized from what I've heard, and the essence of what it once was is kind of dying. The player count for this game also has went down dramatically, and with how fast it happened, it reflects this new ideas. This story does not end on a bad note actually. Happily for the creator, he was able to enlist in the army and actually have a kid. According to some of his tweets, he was tired of living his life, wondering how it could have went and decided to join, and honestly, I'm happy for him that he finally enlisted. Even though the game is kind of dead, I think it will always be a part of Roblox history, so I'm thankful for how many games and the people he inspired with his Obby. With that all said, I hope you guys enjoyed the history of how this game was made and what went down and what happened with it, and how the creators doing now. Let me know if there's another game that I should go over next time, and I'll see you. Bye!